Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. And, of course, we'll get to the JRC in a moment, but first, disclaimers real quick. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shots campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, all pertinent links are going to be right there in the description box for you. So should you like the deep dive on either subject, you're definitely going to be able to go ahead and do that. Trigger warnings real fast. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. I do use profanity. And some of the topics we cover on this channel can be particularly dark. So if you got a child that is 16 and younger and they are watching this, parental supervision is advised. And I do apologize for my snafu just a moment ago, but I don't really have the patience to re-record the opening. But we are going back to Down the Rabbit Hole series. To remind you specifically, we are dealing with the article that goes over how the appeal being run by Professor Walker Smith does not exonerate Andrew Wakefield in his insanity. Excuse me, allergies. So, back where we left off. Pathology studies. John Stone writes, what of course this does not tell you is that the senior author and clinician in the paper, Professor John Walker Smith, who also compiled 11 of the 12 case histories, appealed to the English High Court over the GMC findings and was completely exonerated nearly 3 years ago, totally refuted above. Stowe's essentially, they're writing what Stone said as opposed to what is the truth. Which is, Andrew Wakefield was indeed not exonerated at all, nor was Professor Walker Smith in regards to Andrew Wakefield's so-called conclusions. It specifically has to do with a technicality, and the only ones who are not reporting correctly, well, look in the mirror lately, just saying this all. But this is a flawed account, Stone goes on with. The findings were confirmed by both histopathologists in the paper subsequent to the hearing, and when Dear BMG findings came under scrutiny of Dr. David Lewis in November 2011, they were forced to retrench. Oh my God. 2016, Age of Autism, you cannot trust a single word that any of those folks would say to you. Not only is it one of the biggest mecca areas for anti-vaxxers, it is also an absolute utter snake pit full of fraudsters and so-called fake cures to up to their eyeballs. Up to literally their eyeballs. I would probably trust Satan before I trust Age of Autism. To put it bluntly, at least he puts in the effort to fool people. I know that sounded out weird. I'd never give in to that guy. But you see my point, though, right? Yes, totally going to go with the doctor from freaking Age of Autism. Are you people for real? You tried to make kids take freaking bleach, for God's sake. I should say similar individuals did out in the UK. Allegedly. It would take a separate article which I may write later to refute the above, but for now I will just point out that the pathology studies are irrelevant as they were not included in the GMC determination professional misconduct in 2010 AB, and Justice Mitting writes. There was an additional finding. At 15J, the Professor Walker Smith failed to record the difference between the histological description provided to Dr. Spat on the 31st of December 1996 and the clinical histology report. Professor Walker Smith accepted that this omission was highly unsatisfactory. There is no appeal against the finding, my emphasis, but if which I doubt the omission amounted to professional misconduct, It could not have amounted to serious professional misconduct. Meanwhile, you have Andrew Wakefield over here taking blood samples at a child's birthday party. But he's been totally exonerated. He's a hero. My God, if somebody told you the sky was falling, would you, like, I don't know, literally look to jump on a cliff somewhere? Because, my God, that is the level of dumb we're discussing here. So neither GMC nor Justice Smitting's ruling included historical descriptions, so obviously Stone's including them is irrelevant. Doesn't Stone understand this? No, they're anti-vaxxers. You can tell them it's raining on a rainy day and they're going to insist that the sun is purple and the sky is clear and green, purple spots, alright? They'll say it with their full chest and say it as though they think it's real, and will probably tell you that the reason why the sky looks blue is it's all AI. This is the level of idiocy we are dealing with. Okay? I know, I've been tussling with the anti-vaxxers, God, my whole adult life. I would know. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and read the conclusions. And then once we finish up with this, we're going to be getting into some of the other famous characters that put us all in the current state that we are in at the moment. Such as Jenny McCarthy! And if you think I'm going gentle on her, you don't know me at all. Alright, so conclusion. When Justice Smitting ruled that John Walker Smith could get his medical license back, anti-vaccinists jumped to the conclusion that the decision by implication exonerated Andrew Wakefield. Because you're dumb. Do not understand the concept of context, because we live in a headlines and scrolling world now that has forgotten the ability to fact check and read. Sorry, it's just frustrating. In addition, many claim that the decision also validated Wakefield's retracted 1998 article. It did nothing of the sort. If you get an appeal won on a technicality, that doesn't mean whatever conclusions you came to were correct. By God, people. Read. Context is always king, always key. As the above makes quite clear, neither claim is even remotely valid. Not only did Justice Smitting clearly state that the science refuting on an association between MMR and autism was sound, but he made it clear that his decision did not apply to Wakefield. In addition, Justice Smitting's decision was based on a procedural error. He made it clear that Walker Smith did make some decisions based on research and other decisions based on clinical needs. The procedural error is that BMC Fitness to Practice panel did not justify in detail why they chose to emphasize the research component over the clinical. I can tell you, there's a lot of people who could tell you. Exoneration does not mean factual innocence. While it can mean factual innocence, it can also mean that some rule of evidence, a procedural error, occurred. Exoneration does not include returning some privilege or right. In Walker Smith's case, given that he was already long retired, there was no risk that he would resume practice. All that Justice Smitting's decision did was, to some extent, restore his reputation. Perhaps Justice Smitting, in making his decision, given Walker Smith's long distinguished career and already long retirement, decided to temper justice with mercy and compassion. In any case, neither the GMC findings nor Justice Smitting's decision involved the question of validity of the biopsies, histological samples, and so they are irrelevant to the court's findings. Andrew Wakefield himself was not, and given the overwhelming against him, never will be exonerated. Thank you. Thank you. Nobody's agreeing with his so-called findings. Which, by the way, your findings can't be replicated. Guess what? It's not going to be accepted by science. You want to know why? Because that's how the scientific world works in the real world. Okay? You're not a martyr because you continue to sit and opine on a proven wrong theory. Okay? Just saying. Of course, they've got some references here if you'd like to pull this up. I do have it linked in the description box so you can go over the source material. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and close out for this evening, which is good. I'm hangry. Very hangry. The hanger is real, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe, don't forget the comments, and don't forget to double check to make sure that you are still set up to receive notifications. Tomorrow we're coming back with episode 2 of the new Snake Oil Salesman series. And we'll be back next Saturday with the next episode of Ghost Down the Rabbit Hole. We don't want you all missing anything. I do appreciate your time. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. Now, if you all would excuse me, the pseudo-autistic bubble of nope has descended down. It is time for my food, whichever movie I decide upon this evening. Bye-bye, everyone.